Hey everyone, it's Brent in Central Arkansas. Today I want to talk to you about a process that I do when it comes to fig season, and it's up potting. And I probably wouldn't have done this video at all because, you know, there's a lot of that kind of stuff all over the internet, and I'm just not all about pumping out videos to try to make money. But I did watch a video of a guy in the figging community that was doing something, and I'm like, I made a comment, you know, you should do this instead so you don't break the roots off. And I think that a lot of times when you make comments in YouTube, people take it as a negative. I don't see it that way. YouTube is a social platform. It shouldn't be all about just praising the person who's doing content for you. It should be feedback on the content that's provided. So it's not a social experiment to me. So for example, like, I'm going to share this with you. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but if you like what I'm doing and you get something out of it, go ahead and do it yourself. But I'm not trying to teach anybody how to do something. But I just wanted to share something that I don't see very often, and I'm going to use my up potting of figs as an example of how I'm doing it. So I've got several figs that are in this stage here. I put them in these clear pots and I root the figs mostly over the winter, and then when they get a fair amount of roots, I'll bring you in closer and show you. When they get a fair amount of roots, I want to up pot them as soon as possible, because I've noticed that they can continue to grow in that little pot for sure, not a problem. But and they will get bigger and the roots will get more extensive. But if I out pot them into something bigger, they grow faster and get bigger faster. And so that's what I want to do, because I want, when I put them in this 1 gallon container, I'm going to let them stay in this 1 gallon container if they're for me, and I'm putting them into my lazy garden. For example, I've got some new varieties that I'm going to add to my fig orchard, but I'm also putting them in these because I'm going to sell the extras that I either rooted from my own trees, or the extras, like I was saying, that that came from different, you know, people that I got figs from, and I had, you know, I had 2 or 3 root, and I don't need 2 or 3, so I'll be selling those as well. So I'm going to bring you around. I'm going to show you some things, and I'm going to show you the process I do to up pot them into these 1 gallon containers. For this demonstration, I'm going to use this fig here. This is it says RDB. This is Ronde Bordeaux. And if you look at the roots here, the roots are doing pretty good. Now, they're not filling up this pot completely. This little cup is what it is, this little clear cup, but it won't be any problem up potting it to this based on how I'm going to show you how to do it. Here's another one I'm going to do. I'll do this one off camera, but you can see it has even less roots in it. And you would think that you take it out, or you try to take it out, that soil's going all over the place, and it will for certain if you don't take a couple actions before you take it out of the pot. Now, this is Isbat Anage, and this is a fantastic yellow variety. It's got similar to like a banana flavor to it, and then of course you got the ever popular Ronde Bordeaux. Now, these are my containers here. I think they're technically 3/4 gallon. I call them 1 gallon, but yeah, we're going to use that. So let me sit down and explain the process as I go. But what this mix is it's aged rice hulls. I just put a video up on my gardening channel, and this is on my fig channel, but I also have a gardening channel. But this is aged rice hulls, and it's also got a little bit of peat moss in it. It's a very good medium, because it doesn't, no matter how wet you get it, it doesn't clump together very, it doesn't stay clumped. You can clump it, you know, a little bit if it's saturated, but then you touch it and it falls apart. So it makes a really good growing medium. I did some trials a couple years ago, I think, where I've grown everything and nothing but aged rice hulls, from squash to tomatoes to peppers to beans, and they all did fantastic. I think the key to that was the fact that it's very aged, so there's no cation exchange issues. The pH is where it needs to be, and of course it's really kind of in between really aged and composted. I guess that's what I'd call it. So it's, some people might call it a form of compost. So okay, so one of the key aspects of this process is putting in, I guess you call it like a template. It's going to be the same size container that I use for my figs that figs are growing in. And so I want to create a hole, if you will, that the fig will slide into. It'll support all the foil and keep it from disintegrating. So I'm just going to show you the process here. And the first thing I do is I take the cutting and I put it in the pot, and I determined how high up in the pot it needs to go. And that's based on where the little shoots are coming out on this fig cutting. Now this goes all the way to the top so I can fully bury it. And that's something about figs too. If you don't know, you don't have to worry about how deep or shallow you grow it like a lot of fruit trees. They're rooted from the cutting itself, and if you bury the cutting, and it's not grafted, of course, if you bury the cutting, it's just going to root a little higher up as well, which it's, you know, already done. So this does not need any mix on the bottom. A lot of times I'll have to put some mix in there and tamp it down, but this one is going to be rooted on the very bottom. So just like that. So I don't use the container itself, the fig itself, to do this. What I do is I use a template. I call it a template. It doesn't matter what you call it, but it's a pot that's the same as the pot it's coming out of. And I just take the medium here and I put it all the way around up to about 3/4 full, all the way around. And of course there's medium in the cup itself because it's going to get full anyway, so you might as well just keep it full as if you have a lot of these to do. And then I tamp it down really good. And I get it up to where I want it, just like that. All right, now I take the template here and I turn it and I kind of wallow it like this. And I push against the sides all the way around because I want this, when I take this out, I want it to slide right in there without it being tight. And so I'll go back and I'll tighten the top, or pack the top down a little bit, and what I'm created here is a hole, and that hole is what the fig itself is going to slide into. So I create these little labels. The date I started, this one was done on the 12th of January, and what's today? Around the 13th or 14th of March, I think, maybe the 12th. Anyway, so it's been about 2 months for this particular cutting rooted, and it did pretty good. Okay, before I do this, I saturate all the cuttings I'm going to do in their containers here. I want to check the camera and make sure that you can see what I'm doing. So I saturate all the containers, and I've got probably 20 or 25 of these to do today, but I saturate them completely because I want them to maintain integrity, because this is the medium more or less, and if I didn't saturate it, what will happen, or could happen, is it could do this when I take it out. So the fig container itself I saturated, and now I'm going to take it out, and what I do is I turn it upside down and I take and I slowly I hate to say the word stroke, but I stroke it downwards like this. And what I'm doing is I'm releasing any contact that this container mix may have with the cup itself. And then I push the top here because a lot of times it'll stick to the top, especially in the areas that have like these holes. It has little pieces. I use a soldering iron to put the holes in the bottom here, but it'll potentially connect. So I just squeeze around the top a little bit, and then once I do this and I stroke it down, I fairly lightly tap it just like this. Now the key aspect of this is to keep it vertical. Keep it vertical. Now we're going to have a gravity trick here. So I've got my hole and I've got this thing vertical, so I'm going to turn this, and what I'm going to do, I'll just show you, hopefully you can see it, and I just take it and I do that. See that? It slid right in there. Now I add a little bit of potting or mix here, just like that, to the top. And this is the part that sparked me to make this video from what I'm already going to be doing anyway. I was going to do this today, and I was, I don't show a lot of my own processes because everybody and their brother is regurgitating so much crap out there, and even people are claiming it's their own crap and their own method. But anyway, I'm just showing you what I'm doing here, and these concepts, I'm not the one who invented any of it, but I'm going to show you as a reminder what I do. So I noticed that this one person, he started pushing down and packing it in. Now you do want it to, kind of, I hate to use the word pack in because you're not packing in, but you want to tamp it in so that it kind of settles and removes the pockets. Now I created a hole and I mashed it down, remember, around a template, this template here. And so it was already pretty packed in about half of the container. The fig itself was already compacted in the container. So when I slid it in here, the only thing that needs a little bit of help is the area between the hole I made and the fig going in itself. So I don't need to tap it in like this. But even if I went about it a completely different way and I just put a basic transplant in here and I filled it, I would never push down like this, because what you're doing is you're pushing that soil. What you're trying to do is integrate the soil into the roots, but the roots are so fragile, you don't want to push it down, because if you push it down, you're going to break those fragile roots off and the plant is going to go into shock and you may have just killed it. Figs are notoriously difficult to up pot at this delicate of an age. A lot of people lose their figs. They get it done like this, they get it to where it's growing like this, but then they make the mistake of either packing it, or they shock it, or they add fertilizer. And so I'm going to show you what I do here. And all I do is I tap it. And I'm going to take here, and I'll just do it on the container here. I just tap it a little bit like this. That's all I do. That's all that's needed. And with this mix, or any light fluffy mix, it'll kind of settle into the fig like that. The rest of the way, anything else it may need, it's going to get when I water it in. I'm going to water it in. Even if I water it in, I could tap it lightly just like that. You don't need to do it rough, especially for, remember I showed you the other cutting? If it doesn't have a lot of roots at all, you're really taking a chance of up potting it before it's fully rooted out. But anyway, this whole process definitely helps these things really get started, and they can stay in this pot here for a month or two, in my case even a whole lot longer if you really wanted it to. I've done it for 6 months or more. Like I have some overwintered Chicago Hardies that have popped out, and I started them in these just like I did here, and they've been sitting out since last summer. But anyway, that's it. That's all I'm doing here. I do want to talk about one thing here that I just thought about a second ago when I was telling you about this, and that is people are dumping all kinds of mess into these little bitty delicate fig cuttings. They're so fragile right now. You don't want, in my opinion, you don't want to introduce anything that can shock this. It is very easy. So this isn't sterilized mix, but when I first start and I'm growing them in these, I sterilize this mix. I microwave the mix before I use it, and what that does is it kills any insect like gnat eggs, any bugs that may be in it. And there's bugs in everything, no matter where you get it, whether it's bricked cocoa coir or bag mix, all of it, it always have gnat or gnat eggs in it, if not other things. Plus, sterilizing it in the beginning kills off any disease, molds, and all that kind of stuff. So you get a really good head start. Now, I've talked about recently the two most important things for me, and that's hot water treating seed to kill disease and insect issues, mostly disease, and then also microwave sterilizing the mix itself. That gets it off to a really good start. Now, from the get-go, when I first start watering these, I water with a good water-soluble fertilizer that is very, very weak. I want the plant to start off in a water-soluble fertilizer. I learned this when I did microgreens, and I was really good at doing microgreens. I was the only one that grew them hydroponically really successfully. It's called IHG. I don't do microgreens anymore, but I learned the lesson that even if you use 100% directions on the water-soluble fertilizer, 100% as directed on the package, it will not hurt the roots. It doesn't matter if you use it from the very get-go or you just start using it, it's not going to hurt the roots in all the microgreens. And I grew microgreens, which are basically seeds. I grew, I don't know, 40, 50 different kinds of seeds. So I know what I'm talking about when it comes to water soluble. So sterilize the mix, use a very, very light water soluble. As I get older like this, I'm already using, I was using in this full directive, full strength as on the package fertilizer. And I can tell you, if a plant is putting out roots, that means it's looking for fertilizer. So you don't want to starve it, because they need the energy or you're going to kill the plant. They need the nutrients, they need the energy, they need all of that. It is not okay, in my opinion, to wait until, I don't know, a month, not even a month. You shouldn't be waiting that long. You're hurting your chances. So if you give it some weak solution from the very get-go and then bulk it up as you go, you'll be a lot better off, because a good water soluble will pop these figs like you won't believe. So I use particularly the Master Blend formula. There's 3 components to it. Everybody knows about Master Blend. If you don't, go online, but you can use like even Miracle Grow. It'll do just fine. So that's it. That's pretty much how I do it and my thoughts on stuff. And yeah, I know some people are going to disagree with it, and you're going to get people who are going to say, but I've been doing this forever and blah blah blah, and I don't care. I don't care what you do. You do you. This is me, and these are my advice for people who are searching for ways to do things. I just want to throw my hat in the ring. So there you go. I want to take this opportunity to kind of talk real quickly about some of the varieties. I mean, this is a very, very small amount that's going out. I've got Boreal here. This one's going to be for sale. Zafiro I'm adding to my grow, so this particular one is going to go on mine. Azores Dark is going to be sold. Coldodon Bordesatinca is a new one for me. I'm going to add, what is this one called? Sacramento River Levy Fig. That was an interesting one I saw on FigBid. I thought I'd give that a try and see if I like it or not. Moellada, M-O-E-L-L-A-D-A, is a new one I'm adding. I got a Ronde Bordeaux, another Ronde Bordeaux that are going to be for sale. And then I've got a green Greek here that's also going to be added to my orchard, and we'll see. Now I've got well over 250 now, I imagine, different types of figs, and a lot of these like the Ronde Bordeaux are coming from my particular figs trees, and I'm rooting those. But like I said, I'm adding more, and as I get to the point where I have a good 2 years, basically what I'm saying, I'll give a tree 2 years, and if the fig is not worth it, or it's too close to something else and not really worth growing, then I'll probably get rid of it or sell it or give it away or something. So anyway, just a little plug to let you know that I'll be selling some of these, and just kind of get an idea of that. This is, I did all these the same way I showed you at the beginning of the video.